Good morning, good morning. I just realized these buttons are quite noisy on the table, so sorry if that's distracting, or it might just be distracting to me. Um, anyway, it's Wednesday. We are here for tea break chat and Q&A, and I've got a couple questions this week. But before I get into that, I guess it's my usual kind of life chat, what's going on. And the short answer is I'm sad. Oh gosh. Didn't expect tears to come up this quickly. Okay. Woo. So, the short answer is I'm feeling sad this morning. And I, as you may have noticed, I have a tendency to not really talk very much about people that I'm dating, well, my dating life, until it ends. But I think I've mentioned a couple times that I have been seeing somebody since kind of mid-September-ish. And it's ended now. We broke up last night. So I can talk to you a little bit today about my latest breakup. But in the context of, although I'm clearly sad and tears are threatening, again, this is going to happen a few times today, I think. But in the context of, this is all part of how it goes. This is all part of getting out there and dating again and putting yourself out there and being open to these incredible, amazing connections. And the cool and frustrating, sucky part all at the same time is that, hearts. So I did a reel yesterday, actually, you may have seen it, which is funny timing because that was already, I had done that earlier in the afternoon without having any idea what was coming last night. But I did this reel saying that the myth is that it feels like our hearts are so broken sometimes that they can never recover. But in reality, the truth is that hearts do heal. They are incredibly powerful, our hearts. And the power within our hearts to feel so deeply is just like the best thing in the whole world. And along with that is their ability to love, to experience joy, to grow and expand. Like our heart's capacity to hold love, I truly believe is infinite. And you may have experienced this if you have kids, and particularly if you have more than one kid. I know when I was pregnant with Evie, my second child, and about to give birth, I had been thinking, as I feel like lots of about to be second-time parents do, or people considering being second-time parents, but I love my first child so very much. How on earth could I possibly love another child as much? And I certainly had this fear that I wasn't going to love my second child as much as I loved Nora, because how is that even possible? And, all experienced parents told me, and what turned out to be totally true, is that you do. Your heart just expands in a way you didn't know was possible. And it expands in a way that you feel even more love. You can feel just as much love for your second kids. And I only have two, but from what I can gather, the same is true for 3, 4, 5 kids, carry on. So our hearts, and the same is true, not just with our children, but with dating, with romantic relationships, with life in general. Our heart's ability to hold these emotions, to hold love, like I said, to hold joy, to hold all the big things, just expands and expands. And with kids, it kind of does that sort of automatically, I guess. I didn't have to do much. I didn't have to do anything, in fact, to love Evie as much as I love Nora. It just happened. But I do think that particularly with dating after divorce, dating after a heartbreak of some sort, it does take a bit more intention for that to be true. And I say that because heartbreak sucks. There's no getting around it. I've had the heartbreak of divorce, which was pretty earth shattering. And then I've gone through a few relationships, dating people, things, and experienced a few heartbreaks since then. And although they're not on the same scale as my divorce, they still really suck. Like, there's no getting around that. I cannot sugarcoat that. If you're here for sugarcoating, you're in the wrong place. So they do really suck, but our hearts can heal. The ability for them to shatter into a gajillion pieces and then heal is just astounding. But it's one of the best parts about being human. And then this is what I was saying, where when they heal from a heartbreak, if you heal them with intention, their capacity to hold even more can grow even more. Now, the other way to do it is if you don't heal with intention, and if depending on the circumstances, but if you just hearts will heal, but if you don't, I guess do it with intention, then they can heal in a way where you put up walls and you don't want to let new love in and you don't want to let new connection in. And it can actually, if you protect your heart in that way, if you go, you know what, that heartbreak sucked too bad, I'm not willing to go through that again. Let me protect myself from any future heartbreak by putting up walls around it. Well, that's possible. And your heart is going to shrivel into this hard, tiny little nothing, like a little walnut in there. And that's not the point of life. It's really not. So I think healing your heart with intention and trusting its ability to heal and trusting that you can then hold more is super, super important. And so every time my heart has been broken and I do what I need to do to let it heal, to, give myself what I need, I've opened up to then a new relationship and I open up my heart again and I go into every dating situation, heart wide open. I go all in. And it's scary and it's intense and it does mean that the heartbreak sucks more, but that is just the way it goes and it's worth it, because then also every relationship that I've started being in gets better and better. Every time I get to connect with somebody else and it goes beyond the kind of 2 or 3 date stage, once it gets into this is the real thing, I'm actually seeing this person, I get to open up my heart even more and it gets to feel better and better and better. So it's so worth it for I was really having to remind myself of that quite hard last night when I was just, sitting covered up in a blanket, sobbing my little eyes out. I knew that it was worth it, but I was it doesn't feel like it right now. But I knew it and it's true and I can hold on to it. And in the, sunny day this morning, I can feel that a lot more. So the other thing, I guess, that I wanted to share about this particular relationship and breakup is that even though it really sucks, I can immediately see some of the lessons from it. Sometimes lessons take a while to emerge, and sometimes there's others that are immediately obvious, and there's definitely some here that are immediately obvious to me and that I am so incredibly grateful for, such as this one was so strongly about heart intimacy and the depths that we were going to get to know each other and the questions we were asking each other and the ways that we were opening up and the ways that I was opening up in particular and starting to show him more than just, the version of me that you see on the internet. Obviously there's that, which I do share a lot of, big, huge part of what I do here is authentic sharing of, the goods and the bads. But not surprisingly, there's more than just that as well. So I was really, showing him all sides of me, not just the cheerful, positive superwoman side, which, is for real. But then, I was able to share with him. So when I got sick, when we were supposed to fly to America, I called him from the airport at 5 a.m, not because he could do anything to help me, but because I just needed him to be there for me. And called him that day when I was laying in bed and having a huge pity party for myself. And then not only did I do that, but then I talked to him about it and saying, I'm having a little freak out that like it's too early for me to be showing you this, and that I'm, taking our relationship to the next level without your permission. And by A, sharing, and B, like talking to him about my fear around it, it gave us a super awesome chance to connect on that front, and for him to say, no, that's exactly what I'm here for, and I want you to connect with me in this way. And it just gave us a really great platform for deepening our relationship. And that happened in lots of ways over this time. And so a huge lesson for me in that was showing that it's safe to open up that way. There are, like, I, thinking I'm actually quite a very emotional person. I've got lots of feelings, ups and downs, and to be able to talk to him about it, and for him to not run away, for him to not be scared away by my feelings, for him to be able to hold space for them, and for me to tell him what it was I needed. Because there was another time where I was talking about some emotions, and he said, oh, I can do this for you. I was talking about being grumpy, and he had said, I can tell you to smile, and I was like, that's actually absolutely not what I need. And to be able to talk to him about, actually, this is what I need from you right now, I think was another huge learning point. Of it was scary for me to say that instead of being like, okay, thanks. To be able to say, actually, this is what I need was huge. And it showed me again that, like, there's men willing to do that, who want to give me what I need, who wants to do that, instead of just like, I don't know how to cope with feelings. And hold on one sec. Yeah. I feel like there's been so much that has come out of this and has been absolutely, truly wonderful. And I guess to skip to the ending part. So if all of these wonderful things were true, and this man is truly wonderful. He is such a good human. He is such a good man, and I am so grateful for everything that we've had. And if that is all true, then why has it ended? But it's ended in such a beautiful way, and in a way that my mom's immediate reaction, because she's a loving, protective mother, was, oh, he's a little shit for breaking your heart, and I can't believe he hurt you like that. And also that, like, well, I guess you'll have learned to talk about this earlier on. And the thing is, he's not at all a shit for breaking my heart. My heart is broken, but not because, like, he did anything wrong. So the reason that this ended is because he has figured out that he really wants his own children, and I'm not willing to have any more children. And this is something that we talked about very early on. So this is my mom's other, when she said, well, you know to talk about this earlier. We absolutely, I am so proud of how we have handled this from the very beginning, because we talked about it early on. So he is a little bit older than I am, but he doesn't have his own children. And we talked about that. And he had, in a previous, like, when he started dating before me, he had done his deep soul searching and his, inner work to decide whether he wanted kids or not, because he had always wanted them his whole life. He had come to the conclusion that no, he didn't need to have his own children. He was happy to be involved in kids' lives, like kind of more of a stepfather role, and that it was more important to him to find the right woman rather than waiting for somebody who was willing to have kids at this age. So we talked about it, and we got very clear on that, and we talked about why I don't want any more kids, and got clear on that too, and we were in a good place on that. And then, just this past weekend, something came up where his friends told him that they were expecting a baby, and the emotions hit him in a way that he couldn't ignore, and he realized that actually he's not willing to give up on that dream yet. He's going to be a really, really phenomenal father. He would be, absolutely. And he's not willing to give that up yet. And he knew that wasn't something I was willing to do. So he called me fairly promptly once he'd made that decision and said that, this can't go any further. And so when I say when my mom says, like, you'll know to do it differently next time, no, because we both did everything right here. He had done his inner work, he had come to his decision, we had talked about it early on, but things change sometimes. That's okay. And when he heard this, that his friends were expecting, and he got hit with these emotions, he did exactly the right thing. He sat with it and he figured it out himself of what it was he needed. And when he recognized what it was, he didn't dilly-dally. He didn't draw things out with me. He didn't try and brush it under the carpet. He didn't, try and convince me to change my mind. Like, as he and I said last night, this isn't something you can compromise on. It's like either having kids or not having kids. Both are a lifelong decision. You can't just, change your mind on that. Like, oh, we'll just do it for a little while and then go back on it. This is something that lasts forever. So, and one of the immediate lessons, like I said, there's some that just immediately come through. One of the immediate things that I noticed last night, and I said to my coach, was I am so grateful that I attract men who are strong enough in themselves to say what they need and to walk away when it's not the right thing anymore. I think it was so, what's the word? Honorable, the way he handled it and the way he called me. And he didn't want to have this conversation, and it sucks for him. Like, we both really like each other, so it sucks for him too. But the way that he handled it was so brilliant. And I am so glad that that's the type of men who I've been dating, who are like, I'm going to do the hard thing. It's courage over comfort, as Brene Brown says. And that's how I live my life. And I'm so glad that that's who the people who I've been seeing live their lives as well. Oof, that was a long ramble about that. Okay, is there anything else to say on that? Probably not. I guess I hope that you took some lessons from that, as opposed to me just spouting out stuff. These chats are supposed to be like my life updates, but also, with lessons to take from them. And yeah, there were several and there weren't there. I guess kind of the parting things I will say on that before I move on to the Q&A part is, in fact, let me just check. What time are we on? Yeah, I better move on quickly. The parting things I will say is, just in case he's watching this, you're amazing. And because I'm so grateful to have had this time. Yes, my heart is broken, but it's worth it for all the amazing stuff that we've done and learned and grown together. And is this going to stop me from, putting my heart out there again? No. But do I need to take some time for it to heal first? Yes, absolutely. So the next steps for heartbreak are to really let yourself feel those emotions, to not make them wrong in any way, to not try and rush them, to not try and make it look a certain way, but to really just let yourself sit with it. And then when the time is right, whatever time that is, then you can do the stuff that you need to shift it. So then I know to, get out and move my body and shift my energy. I know to talk to people about it. I know to, I'll know when it's the right time to go back on dating apps. It's not going to be today, that's for sure. But I will know to listen to myself and know when to do those things. But I trust my heart to heal, because it absolutely does. I trust my heart to open up, because it absolutely does. And that's how all of this goes. It's what, it's the purpose of all of this in life, is to feel, to open, to connect. And the point of being vulnerable, or the whole thing about being vulnerable, is putting yourself out there regardless of the risk, knowing that it could go well, it could go badly. And this one has had both. There's been way, way more good than bad. And it, being vulnerable is kind of the whole point. It's required to have connection, and man, did we have a good connection, and I wouldn't change a thing. So there's all of that. Whoo-wee! Okay, there's Lindsey's heartbreak chapter of the Q&A, of the life chat. All right, shall we move on now? Let's move on. Less tears from me in the next section. Okay, so first question that I had today was about how to best support a friend when their mom suddenly dies. And this one, unfortunately, I've had quite a lot of practice with. I've had many friends, actually, whose parents have died in the last few years, which is terrifying, by the way. I absolutely hate thinking about the fact that, our parents are so mortal and fragile and getting to the age where this isn't actually all that surprising. But in terms of how to support your friend when this happens, I'm still not sure I'm any good at it. So the answer is there is no right answer. From what I do and what I hope helps is mainly just be there for your friend. Let them know that you are there. Do not shy away from it. Do not try and hide. So having a friend's parent die can be super uncomfortable. And like I said, it can bring up your own fears around your own parents' death. Maybe your parents have, one or the other has already died. Maybe it's something you're worried about. Maybe you don't have a close relationship. Whatever your stuff is, it can trigger emotions in you about your own life, certainly. And it can bring up, so somebody else's death can bring up all kinds of stuff in us. But you can't hide behind that, because whatever it is you're feeling, your friend is feeling more. They are the ones here who are feeling the most. And that doesn't mean ignore your own needs, ever. I never, ever say ignore your own needs, you know that. But attend to your needs and then attend to your friends. Don't attend to yours and then ignore your friend altogether. So I think the biggest thing is to be there, to let them know that you are there. And like I said, there is no one way to do this. So ask your friend what they need, and don't just ask once and then walk away, and they often won't know the answer. But things that, there is some practical stuff. So you can, I know this is I always laugh because it feels like such a, cliche thing, or what you see, you hear in not fairy tales, but old tales, but food, bring them food. Because although it seems so really, this is what we do, is we bring food? Yes, because taking anything off of their plate can be super helpful. Making just anything in life easier for them can be super helpful. And if that's one less dinner that they have to cook, or 2 less dinners, or whatever it is, great, do that, make it easier for them, a lasagna for the freezer, or a casserole, or whatever it is. But, that's a practical thing. But I think mainly it's giving them a chance to talk about it. It's not, I'm just going to keep repeating, don't shy away from it. And the big thing for me, which honestly I struggle with sometimes, but I think is really, really important, is to remember that for those of us not immediately in the pain, life moves on quickly, in the way of the 24-hour news cycle, and the headlines on BBC change constantly. And as soon as there's a new headline, there's something new to focus on. The old stuff falls out of the way. And that's the world that we live in. And when it's not your pain and there's other stuff going on in the world, you're going to move on a lot quicker than your friend will. And remembering that for the person going through the grief, this is a long process, so long. And so remembering that and reaching out and saying, whenever, and grief pops up unexpected times. I have certainly learned that. You might think that you're fine and then suddenly you're not fine. And letting your friend know that you're here for all of that. It might be weeks later, it might be months later, it might be years later. And letting them know you're here for that. I also try to, and this is a longer term thing, but I've put some important dates in my diary so I can remember to check in. One of my friend's mom's death anniversary is coming up quite soon, and I'll be checking in on her to make sure she's okay that day. And it just lets her know that, not everybody has forgotten and that I'm here for her. So yeah, like I said, I'm not, there's no mastering this, and I am not sure that my friends whose parents have died might think like, no, you've got this all wrong. And if that's the case, please chime in and let me know, what can we be doing differently? But I think the main thing is letting them know that you're there, not avoiding it yourself because of your own discomfort, and asking what they need and knowing that what they need might change. In fact, it very well will change, but being okay with that. So yeah, that's that one. The other two that I got are much less coaching questions, but I'll answer them anyway. So in fact, they're just not really coaching questions at all, but that's okay with me. I like questions. I like answering. So the next one was, what do you get as a present for a 6-year-old who has basically everything? I think this is a nephew, but what do you get for a 6-year-old who has everything already? And so I really object to like buying things for the sake of buying things, and I really like, when kids or people have like everything, then I don't love buying more stuff that I think is just going to go into a pile and be forgotten about. So, but that said, for a 6-year-old, you kind of like, it's, it's their birthday and they should get presents. That's fine. I don't mind. But so what I tend to do there is books are always my go-to, because I strongly believe that one can never have too many books. Ever, ever, ever. I think books are the answer to everything. I love books. So I tend to get kids books for presents, like most of the time is my go-to. I personally try and get, and I do not always achieve this, but I try not to get just like, sometimes no, they are just like whatever I find on the shelf, but I generally try and look for like books with good lessons, or like, books with diversity, or books with like teaching them about feelings, or like books with lessons. So that's what I generally try and go for, because then I feel good about those. And then, or the other thing for something like a 6-year-old, or kids who have too much, is things that can get used up, like stickers or coloring books, or, things that like aren't going to just stick around and clutter things up. But like, my kids are obsessed with stickers. They can never have too many, and they've come down close because we have a lot of stickers, but they never ever get sick of them. And this way they can just go through stickers, at whatever rate they want to. And I'm like, fine, that's the point of them. So yeah, like crafty things that can get used up is my other thing there for kids who have too much, or whatever, everything they have. And then the other question, was, if I had like one nutrition tip, like my go-to nutrition tip, if I had to choose one. And I'm laughing at that because I am, certainly not a nutrition expert. And if this guy who just broke up with, if he actually is watching this one today, I don't know if he's going to, but he will be laughing at this one quite a lot, because my diet is one thing that he found like baffling. But that said, I actually do know quite a bit about nutrition, or at least like, I know how to do it. I just don't always apply it. But because of that, I actually have so what works for me. So I know that by the end of the day, I am really not great at dinner. I'm just tired, and by the time I'm hungry, and I'm in a rush, and I don't have much time at the end of the day. Even when I do, I just don't wanna. So I know that the end of the day is really tough for me to have actual meals. Which is why I eat an inordinate amount of pizza, or, as I've lately shared, a bit more of like salmon and popcorn, and just stuff that's like not real meals. But in order to counter that, because I know how important nutrition is, and how my whole body feels better, my whole life feels better when I have good nutrition. So what I do is I start the mornings off right, so that no matter what else happens in the day, I at least have like a solid shot of nutrition in the morning. So I have, it's almost 3 years now, actually. It was January 2020 when I started this. So I have every morning a drink with a scoop of greens powders and a, why is the words really left my head? Probiotic, prebiotic, and digestion enzymes. So the probiotic and prebiotic help the good bacteria in your gut, and it helps your gut break down and absorb nutrients more. And I have that with the greens powders because then that is the best. I've got like a full serving of fruit and vegetables and like a wide variety of nutrients, along with, like I said, the probiotics that help my body absorb it. So I have that every morning, the greens and the digestive enzymes. And I have a protein breakfast shake. So all of these things that I'm mentioning are Arbonne. So I started with Arbonne, like I said, 3 years ago, January 2020, with a 30 Days to Healthy Living plan, which was just incredible. And I've kept using those ever since because, like I said, it's the way to start my morning, like with a great shot. So in my protein shake, not only does this protein powder that I use come, like it's got 20 different vitamins and minerals in it, and then I always add to it I always have spinach in it. I always have nuts for the healthy fats and protein. I always have mixed seeds because seeds have a variety of benefits as well, nutrition benefits. And then sometimes I have it like with berries and fruit in it, but not always. So I have that breakfast shake and the greens and the probiotics like every morning pretty much. Not always on weekends. Sometimes I have something else with the girls on the weekends. But that's what I do every day. And like I said, that helps me know that like whatever else I eat during the day, although that's not enough, like that's still not, your 5 a day and everything. It's at least a darn good start. It's a lot better than if I didn't do that. Like, a bowl of Rice Krispies or cereal doesn't actually have much nutrients in it at all. It might fill you up, but there's like basically no nutrients to it. So this like intense shot of nutrients first thing in the morning is super, super helpful to me. So that's my one tip on that. It's like, the shakes are, you can have them on the go. So I make mine and then get in the car to take the girls to school and stuff. So it's easy for my lifestyle as well, which is really helpful. I think that's it. Is there anything else I want to say today? I don't think on that stuff, so I hope that's helpful. If you guys watch my stories, you know that I told you that I'm changing my offers very soon. So I am just working on the final details of a new offer that I've got coming out, which is very much going to be to support. Should I give you a sneak preview? Yeah, I'll give you a sneak preview because that's the benefit of watching these. You guys always get the insider information. So this new offering is very much to support people who are going through breakup, divorce, separation. And that can mean any time in that. So going through that is, that could be in the lead up to it. It could be when you've decided to do it and you're in it. It could be like, in the follow-up time. Like people talk about like, when did you get divorced as though it was like a single event. And in my experience, it's not that. It's a very long, drawn out, emotional thing. When I say long and drawn out, I don't mean the actual like divorce process, although that can be too, but I just mean the emotional side of it. There's so many pieces to it. And so I'm working on this program, this offering to support people who are going through it because it's hard. It sucks. It can be really lonely. It's something that we don't always want to talk to our friends and family about for a gajillion reasons. And it doesn't need to be something that you do alone. I absolutely, have, come out the other side. Certainly, I still have co-parenting stuff. But, I've been there. I've gotten tons of support along the way. I have so much support that I can offer. And that I wish that I had when I was going through it because I didn't start my coaching until much later after like the main chunk of it was done. And man, do I wish I'd had like solid support. I had some one-off coaching sessions like at some points during my divorce and that was life-saving, but I wish I'd had more of it. So I am really excited to put this together and to share it with you guys because I know that it can be such a lifeline, and I know that there's a lot of you out there going through this because although we don't talk about it much, in fact, it's one of the like biggest, most common secrets I feel like of like people struggling in their relationships and going through divorce and like I said, not wanting to talk to people about it. So I don't want you to be alone in that. I want you to feel supported and know that there's somebody here. So that offer is going to be coming out soon. If that is something that you'd be interested in, please feel free to shoot me a message. You don't have to wait until I share the details publicly. You can send me a message now and we can talk about it. But I'm so excited to get this out there and to let you know that, there's, I can support you in it because support is needed. So that will be coming out soon. But in the meantime, and when I do that, when I do this change in my offer suite, I'm probably going to be getting rid of the single sessions. But at the moment, the single sessions are still available for £155. The link is in my bio. So if you want just a quick one-off session, get in now before I take it away. But the mini package of 3 sessions is still going to be available. The long-term 3 months of coaching is still going to be available. So yeah, that's out there. If you want to get into any of this in more detail, let me know. Send me a message and we can talk about it. If any of this resonates with any of you, let me know in the comments. Let's keep talking. Share it with any of your friends who you think might need to see this or might find it interesting. Sharing it is super, super helpful. And there's, the more people see it, the more likely I am to connect with the people who really need to hear it. So that's what this is all about. So yeah, I think that's it. Have a wonderful Wednesday and I'll see you here next week. Okay, love you lots. Bye.